Welcome back, people. We're in the Hirewire Garage, and today we're going to be pulling an engine. So as you can see behind me, my lift finally came in. I am so excited. It's actually like really nice too. I love that it's black. I don't like the gray one. I don't know. I'm picky about what my stuff is. Like my ratchets and all that stuff is black. I like blacked out stuff. So super exciting. We got the lift in, so today I'm going to finish trying to get the rest of the bolts undone because I haven't worked on anything since, the last time I was in here. I was doing some welding and some other stuff just to mess around and, learn how to do that. But shout out to Dan down at Village Hardware. I wound up going down and picking up some PB Blaster because basically he told me the WD-40 I'm using is shit and that it's not really penetrating and helping, loosen the corroded bolts and shit like that. So I went ahead and I pre-sprayed with some PB Blaster. I'm going to go pre-spray again because I'd rather spray twice. It won't hurt it. I'll spray it again. We have some oil line, or not some oil lines, but some fuel lines that we have to undo. A couple electrical lines in the top. We still have to try to get the exhaust manifold, or I don't know if it's the exhaust manifold. It's like the J pipe that comes off the bottom of the engine. We got to try to get 3 of those bolts. Those are the hard bolts that I can't get undone, but we got to get those 3 undone. Then there's whatever, the little brace that's holding the transmission up, and I think this thing can basically be pulled out. Oh, and the engine mounts. Don't forget about the 2 engine mounts. There's 2 right on the side engine mounts that you have to disconnect as well. And we'll get this fucking engine out today. Hopefully, let's do it. Oh, and that beginning clip, that was my new shop heater. Originally, I ordered a shop stove, and like it was a little wood stove to hopefully heat it up, but I installed it and it was just smoking the whole garage out. It was disgusting. So that thing works way faster, way better, it's way hotter. It can basically heat like a 5,000 square foot house, and this is only like a 20 by 20 garage. So maybe a little bigger, but yeah, that's gonna heat up the place hopefully when we're working in here because it's gonna snow. Tomorrow we're gonna get like a foot of snow. I don't know if you can see, let's see, but I don't know if you can see, but there's really no snow yet. It snowed a little bit last night. There was dusting, but we're gonna be getting some serious snow. So I gotta stay warm in here, especially when I'm rebuilding the engine. Because again, in the cold, everything is so much harder to take apart. The bolts don't want to come out. Nothing's warm. Everything's all cold and seized up. So get this place a little warmer so it's nicer to work, and hopefully everything goes accordingly today. Let's do it. So I'm going to go ahead and explain a couple things I'm going to jump in and just do because I don't want to have to turn the heater on and off because it's a little loud. I have to disconnect these 2 lines. So there's 2 lines that come from this oil filter down here, this little fuel filter. So I'm going to disconnect these 2. They're just 2 Phillips screws. So we'll disconnect those. Then you have 2 motor mounts on either side of the engine. There's one on this side and one on the matching other side. So we're going to have to remove that. Let's see. Next we have, it looks like these things, these 2 hoses that go through the firewall right here. 1, 2. We'll have to remove these 2 hoses. So they just look like some Phillips little hose clamps. So remove those. Next, you're also going to have this that was coming off the rest of this. This is the electrical harness. The rest of this electrical harness that goes up to all these injectors up here. So we'll have to disconnect these one by one. I'll probably label them because I don't know if that matters, but we'll take each little cover off and then we'll pull that whole harness to the side and lay it over the car again. So now the only thing is, I know when we put the turbo on, I think we're going to wind up replacing that exhaust piece down there, but this, I'll have to like either take the control arm right here. I'll probably take this apart, maybe the steering control. I don't know. I really don't want to fuck with that because I think you should be able to take the engine out no problem. But I can't, if I can't get this little fucking piece off, and which has this connected, we'll have to either cut that or take that apart. So we'll decide that when we get to it. But hopefully we can get the, what is this? I'm going to call this the J pipe coming out of the engine. The J pipe going down, which is the exhaust. Hopefully we can get that undone because we have the PB Blaster on there. And just so you can see right down in there is also, that's one of the mounts. This whole thing right down here. That's an engine mount as well, so you have to disconnect that. That should just be 1 bolt going through.
It's just a reminder to take a little bit better care of yourself. You're worth it. You can have this feeling anytime you choose.
Last thing I have to take out is I got to try to take out this line right here. I think it goes down to the exhaust for some reason. Maybe a ground or something, but I don't know how to disconnect. So let me see if I can take this boot off and disconnect it. If not, I might have to unbolt it from here somehow.
You're worth it. You can have this feeling anytime you choose.
So after taking that heat shield off, I noticed something a little crazy. So, is it me, or there's bolts going into that part of, I think this is the, so this is the exhaust manifold, right? So look at those bolts. Now look at this one. There's no bolts on that. So I would think that is why there's all this gunk and shit all around it, because I don't think that's been bolted. I don't know if it shook loose or if somebody didn't reattach it, but yeah, that's not like that, and that's a problem. So we're gonna have to get bolts. That is just so crazy to me, guys. So that might be part of why this engine bay looks pretty nasty and all gunky, because this shit's been leaking into the engine bay. That's disgusting. Well, from what I believe is when I put the turbo on, I think I'm going to be deleting this anyways. Now, if I can't, that gives me an idea actually, because I can't remove those bottom bolts down there, so maybe I can see if I can remove these top ones, and then I'll just take this whole thing out. That might work 100% better. We're going to try that maybe. My ears are ringing, but it is finally off. Sweet! I was actually able to get under there. I just wound up ringing them. I have a you know, an impact gun, a regular Milwaukee impact gun. I just started ringing it out on the nuts for like, you know, probably a minute on each one, and it finally came undone. So that is awesome. All right, not too much more. I think I just got to do the motor mounts. I think there's one right here on this side. I think one on the other side. And I think we should be able to pull this fucker right out. Let's do it. Alright, so last but not least, we got the exhaust manifold out, I got the motor mounts out, and I have the engine pre-hoisted at the moment. I have a chain and 10,000 rated strap around the engine. So the last thing we have to do is there's 2 bolts in here, which I already undid, and then there's going to be 4 bolts that hold the transmission up. So we just want to be careful when doing this because I don't know how much is going to drop. But basically undo these 4 bolts, and hopefully we can slide this engine out. Okay, she's out. Alright, so I'm gonna let that, it's leaking coolant and fluid and transmission oil and fucking whatever the fuck it's leaking all over the place. So I'm gonna let it drip into the pan, leak for a little bit, and then we'll finish pulling it out. But she's looking good. We had a little bit of trouble with the motor mounts because I wound up just taking the bolts off the engine, not the actual motor mounts out. But I had to take them out to be able to finagle the transmission through there. So a little bit of a pain, but those bolts are stuck. But as I lifted the thing up, I had more room to work on them. And that's it, people. The engine has finally been pulled. Woo! Let's get some high fives all around, peeps. High fives. High five on your head. Alright, as you just saw, we got the motor pulled. I am freaking excited. That is so awesome. We finally got the engine at 240, so now I can start stripping it piece by piece and rebuilding it and cleaning it all up and putting it back together and cleaning it up and making it not look like shit. As you saw before, we figured out a couple things, like how the exhaust manifold didn't have any bolts bolted on one side, which isn't good. But like I said, that's probably going to be getting swapped out anyways when we put the turbo in, so we'll see. I might just have to get more hardware. But we got the engine. It's sitting on a tire. It's still going to be on the hoist for now until I get somewhere to, you know, actually prop the engine up once I get the tranny off and stuff. But that's awesome. I am super excited. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please stay tuned. Comment, subscribe, like the video. Hit me up. Do whatever you want to do. I am so pumped. We got the engine out. Next few videos are going to be some interior work as well as stripping down the engine and starting to clean stuff. I want just a quick engine bay view for you guys, which is so sick. I made a hell of a mess. There's oil, there's coolant, there's shit all over the floor here. So I'll have to get out here and put some sawdust and shit down. But the engine bay is empty. We got to strip some of this stuff out. Now, one extra thing I'll tell you guys, we are actually going to be tubbing the bay. So I got two fenders to put in to tub this out because, as you can see, the rest I was talking about before, that's really bad. So we'll wind up replacing that, fixing that all up, getting the engine bay primed, painted. It's gonna look dope.